Welcome to Driving the Lane with Randy Kraayenbrink and Chuck Rowe. Now, Driving the Lane.
Welcome to Driving the Lane. Randy Kraayenbrink, Chuck Rowe, the show we talk about mostly one thing and one thing only, and that is
Panther basketball.
Now, it's important that we remind you that even though we are the official UNI basketball show for the Panther Collective, our comments may not reflect the feelings of our friends at UNI. However, Randy is a former player, and I'm going to watch the game tomorrow on TV. So this show is as official as it's going to get. As always, we have a great show for everyone this week. Joining us, Cailyn Morgan. We have the Panther Collective questions of the week, and of course, the Financial Architects quote of the week. Let's get started. We're excited to have with us today, drum roll please, Cailyn Morgan. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. So, Cailyn, you got a cat in the background, and then you show
I
your
do, yeah.
right?
It's pretty loud.
Now, how long have you had that cat for?
3 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we should interview the cat too. What's the name of the cat?
Muffin.
What's the cat's name, by the way?
Muffin.
Muffin.
Muffin. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of names you could have picked under the sun here. You picked Muffin. How did that name come about?
Well, she was given to me already. She was like 2 years old, and I took her, and her name was Star, but I didn't really like that name. She responds to that name, but I just called her Muffin, and it stuck. So
Yeah. You just kind of changed the cat's name. I love it. So,
Yep.
yeah. And so, who watches the cat when you're away for games and things like that? Then.
I have a few friends in Sierra Falls that come and give her pets. She has an automatic feeder, so it goes off, but she likes attention too. So I have somebody come over.
Is the automatic feeder hooked up to your iPhone so you can feed Muffin every once in a while, or not?
No, it goes
No.
off on a timer, like on it by itself.
So you have a roster full of individual personalities on this team. What is it that makes this team gel so well together?
I think it's just that, like all of our different personalities. We're so funny. Like I would love spending time with them all the time because we connect on all the same level. We have the same sense of humor, and that's what makes it so fun.
But this cat here I'm loving this cat. This is like it should be our new mascot for the program, Randy.
Yeah, sure.
Muffin could be our mascot. Right?
Muffin, our mascot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Cailyn, top 3 pets you ever had in life. What were they?
Ooh.
Muffin, my cat, and a fish, probably.
Okay. Are you just saying that because Muffin's there? You don't want to hurt Muffin's feelings? Is that?
No,
Yeah,
I've actually Muffin's the only pet that I've really had. So
with a fish being the only other one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and my freshman year, I got a hamster.
Okay. Obviously, the hamster meant a lot to you since you didn't even remember. But okay,
Yeah.
So Cailyn, one thing that some of our listeners love to hear about is kind of how you got to UNI, right? So I think you're a 5th year senior.
Yeah.
Right. And so kind of give us that journey, maybe where you played high school, and then kind of how you got recruited and how you ended up at UNI.
Mm-hmm. So I played basketball, or I went to high school at Iowa City West High. So that's in Iowa City, and I got recruited pretty early, and I committed pretty early as well, around my sophomore year. And I'd been coming up to UNI watching my older brother and sister play since I was in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So this was like another home to me. Like I was familiar with it. This was a place that I loved coming up and watching my siblings play at. So I think it was a pretty easy decision for me. And then on top of that, the coaching staff, they were very, very prominent with me and like making sure that I knew that they were recruiting me for me and the qualities that they knew that I would bring to the team. So that felt really personal to me. And that's what made that was a big part of my decision with coming here too, was definitely the coaching staff.
Well, you said what makes you and being an individual, right? And this is a question that, Randy, you could probably answer this as well, but both of you come from families where everyone just played basketball. And when you have older siblings, is it ever hard to be recognized for your playing qualities? And is it hard when people compare you towards your siblings?
I don't think so. I definitely, when I was first coming in, I had a little bit of feelings towards it, but not really. I've always looked up to my brother and sister, so it was always a compliment to me when they would compliment me on some of the characteristics that they saw that my older brother and sister brought. So I don't think that was really a big problem for me, but yeah, I would just say that.
Well, I was going to go down the road where my brothers weren't near as good as me and go down that road, but that might come back to bite me. So I'm going to not go there. But it was difficult. So I was the youngest of 5 boys, and so they all played sports and came from a smaller school, so we played multiple sports. But Cailyn brings up a good point where like the coaching staff at UNI did say, "Hey, Randy, we see these qualities in you," that type of thing, which was really cool. And unique kind of. So, but I will say this, being the youngest, and I think part of that just watching the sports kind of helps you learn what not to do and maybe what you do want to do, kind of what coaches expect. But I think being the youngest was a huge benefit for me, just because of the expectations were there, obviously, but I kind of knew what to expect. So that's kind of cool.
Well, Cailyn, you were on a state championship team, and you also played, I think, volleyball, softball, maybe probably some other sports. Is basketball actually your favorite sport? And even if it was your favorite sport, what would be like your next favorite sport that you really just love?
Yeah, I think basketball is my favorite sport. I love the competitiveness around it, and the competition aspect, but definitely coming second would be volleyball. That was such a fun sport for me, and it was also competitive, but I love playing that sport as well.
But competitiveness, right? So is there anything you do that you're not competitive at, like playing cards or golfing, or what's your release where you don't have to win all the time?
That's a good question.
Is
I
there
would say whenever there's any sort of competition involved, I think I always default to being a little competitive with it. But things that I know that I'm not really like the best at, like golfing or like bowling, that I just try to have fun with. I don't get too mad about it.
So your first year at UNI, we go into this COVID lockdown. What was it like going through all those safety protocols in the team? And how did you get those competitive juices flowing when you couldn't even compete?
I guess it just came down to like looking forward to every practice we could do. And even though we had to wear a face mask on and off in practices, we still really had to like play against each other. And that's all we had at the time. So I guess that's where it kind of showed. But yeah, it was the word that comes to mind right when it started and all the protocols and all that stuff happened was like, it was just annoying. It was nobody wanted to have things pricked up their nose and stuff all the time. And yeah, we had to go through a lot of protocol things. And I definitely relied a lot on my teammates for I think we all did, just getting ourselves like through that, because we were the only people we could actually see. We didn't get to see our family a lot. We couldn't really go outside of our circle. So that was probably the most challenging part out of it. But it definitely helped having some amazing teammates through all that.
So let's talk about your major, kind of like what do you want to be when you grow up, right? So obviously you're in your 5th year, so I'm assuming you possibly have a degree already.
Yep, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and now I'm in my 1st year of school counseling at the graduate program at UNI, and it's a cohort with mental health counselors and school counselors. So that's a 2-year program, and next summer I'll graduate with a master's, and then I plan to go into school counseling and then later down the road get a licensing in mental health. which only takes about a year, which is nice. And then hopefully open my own private practice and in something more specific.
So I heard around that when you do have that major, it's very easy to want to analyze every single person you come in contact with. And when you're like, even with this few minutes with Randy, you're probably thinking to yourself, gosh, if it was a disc profile, he would probably be like do you do that to people? Like analyze them as you're talking to them?
No, not all the time, I would say. I think it's more of like, I think I'm more observant of behaviors just in general. Like I'll notice things that I think a lot of people like wouldn't necessarily notice in like social settings or things like that. But so sometimes maybe I get stuck in it a little bit, but no, not all the time.
Randy, interesting trivia for you here. Okay.
Yep.
In 2015 until now, there has been a Morgan on the UNI women's team. And during that stretch, the winning percentage of the team has been 65%. And now the all-time D1 history with UNI, without the Morgans being on the team at all, only 50%.
Wow.
Obvious connection here, I think, right?
It's pretty clear.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that if I was choosing teams, I would pick someone with the last name Morgan.
Right.
No questions asked. So, but more seriously though, this year UNI was pegged to have a really strong season. You had a few losses right now, but what sort of pressure is involved when you do have that high level of expectations? And is it more fun and easier to play now that you get a couple of losses out of the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we've been told many, many times that pressure is a privilege and we get to choose what is pressure to us and what's not. And I think this is a huge opportunity for us to kind of show people that, I mean, we were only predicted to win maybe one of our non-conference games this season. But we have a different mindset towards that. And yeah, we've had a few losses already, but it's still very, very early. And there's still so much that this team is capable of. And things that we need to start proving to people that the kind of team that we are. So,
and I think if you look at your schedule, it's not like you've got cupcakes out there coming into McLeod or you're going on the road, right? I mean, you guys are playing great competition, and we understand that you know, at UNI we play anybody anywhere. We won't back down, and so you're right. I mean, to take a couple of losses at the end of the day, it's probably not a bad thing, but it's just going to make you better for the conference. And so let's go into Thanksgiving weekend. You're headed out to Vegas, right?
Yep, we leave
some
bright and
basketball.
early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, cool. And so who do you have the first game or two?
We play Syracuse our first game.
And when you say bright and early, when you think of the team, first off, what time are we talking about bright and early?
We are leaving at 7 a.m.
I was just kind of curious, which players are there ready to go? And which players look like they just rolled out of bed maybe like 2 minutes beforehand and like, you know, maybe just woke up right before that plane ride? Who would that be?
That's funny. I think definitely in the mornings, the people that are kind of coming in, like looking like they just rolled out of bed would be Maya McDermott. Or even I would say Kaba.
Okay.
They're gonna kill me for saying that. But yeah, then again, I think with us just getting up to like go on a bus, I think all of us are gonna kind of be looking like we're rolling out of bed. But we've been having morning practice every day. So I mean a lot of us are up at like 5 a.m. anyway. So
Well, as you're preparing, sorry, Randy, go ahead.
Follow up to that, Chuck, is the coaching staff. So let's talk about which coach is going to be the one that looks like they just rolled out of bed, and which coach is fired up, all prepped up, looking purple and gold, ready to go. You're a fifth-year senior. What are they going to do to you?
I'm not sure. I think for the most part, they're all morning people. But Nelson is definitely the one that comes in with his Diet Coke in the mornings and hopping on the bus with all of his gear.
All right.
Well, this year you're getting more minutes and growing as a player. What are some things that you worked on this summer to help you become a better player, especially as you roll into Vegas?
Yeah, so I've definitely like had a changing role each year. This year, I think I've been trying to work more on my offensive game, especially coming off screens, and with our dynamic offense, it gives all of us a lot of freedom to kind of make more reads and stuff. So with this offense that we have this year, I've definitely been working on my 3-point game, coming off screens, my mid-range game, and finishing at the basket.
You also helped out with the Panther Collective basketball clinic in October. Could you ever picture like coaching being your future at all?
I have, definitely. Coaching is really fun, especially with younger kids, because there's so much development going on at such a young age. And especially with like junior high kids, they get the concepts already. So it's just working on the development, the skills, the techniques, and all that kind of stuff. And I think I would enjoy working with that kind of skill level in the future. But as of right now, I'm a little more focused on my education in the future with that. So,
well, the reason why I bring this up, when you talk about Coach Warren and the things that maybe you need to improve upon, what kind of skills has she taught you about communicating with someone that needs to improve some skill that you could take with you when you coach maybe a kid in the future?
Wow, it's a good question. She's taught me a lot about like my composure and my emotional regulation, staying in control of what I can control. And then also with stepping into a leadership role this year, accountability, I think, is a really big thing that I know personally I'm going to take with me out when I'm done with basketball, and then something I would always hold as a high standard for if I were to start coaching and stuff, is to teach adolescents just how to take accountability for themselves and for teammates when they're playing a team sport.
Yeah, I have grandkids running around now that are playing sports, and multiple times we talk to them about their emotions, right? It's something you can control. And so it's the same thing. I mean, there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. It's just how high are they, and then how low are they at the end of the day. But when you mention something about obviously things you can control, and that's part of your emotions, right? And so that's a big deal. Very cool.
Have you ever been in a college or high school or even middle school game where like it's during the game and the heat of emotion, you got a technical, or you threw a basketball on the ground, or you yelled at a referee? Is there anything that has ever happened that at the time wasn't the best moment, but now it's kind of funny when you look back and think on it?
I can only really remember getting a technical in high school, but I mean, it was definitely out of frustration, like slamming a ball or something. Yeah. But I can't really think of anything right now. That's a good question though.
And then with Coach Warren, how she used you differently from maybe your freshman year until now?
She's definitely instilled a lot of confidence in me, I think. And throughout the years, I think there's been a lot that's gone on in everyone's personal lives these last few years. And I think really being able to kind of let down our walls, not only with my teammates, but with my coaches, and also reciprocating that and asking about them and making sure like the coaching staff is doing well. I think establishing that kind of relationship is really important. And that's a relationship that I think Coach Warren and I have. I know that I can tell her whatever I need to tell her. And I know that I can always ask about her, and she'll be very honest with me, whether it's a good day or it's a bad day. And having that kind of transparency with coaches allows my teammates and I to have a really good and honest and open relationship, and it feels a lot more like family.
Well, you obviously came from a basketball family. We talked about that earlier, right? So let's say you're all just playing one big, huge game together, whatever, horse or 2-on-2, 3-on-3, etc. But who out of all of you do you consider to be the biggest trash talker?
Probably my oldest brother, that
Yeah.
or my youngest brother, because when we would do that, Marcus and I were pretty little at the time, but my little brother would always kind of do whatever my oldest brother was doing, Jeremy, and just kind of, if Jeremy was trash talking, Marcus would trash talk, and it would just kind of bounce off back and forth between the both of them.
Who's the ball hog that's always trying to score the most?
Marcus would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who takes the games too serious and has to like argue over every little ticky-tack foul?
Either my oldest brother Jeremy or older sister Michaela,
Yeah.
or me.
So everyone, pretty much
All of
everyone
us.
is overly serious.
There's a lot of fouls, going on in those games.
I mattered at the time, I'm sure.
So along those same lines, then, who's the sorest loser?
The sorest loser, probably my sister Michaela.
Who's that one sibling that you always need to kind of, Randy, you might remember something like this. Like there's always that one sibling you need to let score every once in a while, or else they'll just quit, right? Who's that sibling that you need to do that for?
I think my siblings did that for me a lot. To be honest.
I believe that you're the only senior on the team that has played their entire career with you and I, right? So so tell us about that leadership transition from you being a freshman to where you are now.
It was a long journey, I would say that. Yeah, it's been interesting going through each year, and I came in with 2 other girls, and then me kind of just being like the only one in my class now, along with Rachel, but she came in, has definitely been a big transition every year for me. And then on top of that, coming into the leadership role this year has been something that I've embraced in doing. I think I kind of bring a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not afraid to like get on my teammates, but in a very compassionate way. I think they know me really well, and they know how much I love them, and we all love each other too. But if there's a time where I know that I need to get on somebody, I'll do that. And one of the reasons why I love my teammates so much is that they don't take it personally. They always accept it, and they're more appreciative than they are defensive about taking any of that help or criticism.
So kind of along those lines, coming into your freshman year, your sophomore year, who was maybe an upperclassman that said to Cailyn, hey, Cailyn, this is how it works. This is what you need to do. This is how, when coach says this, who kind of took you under their wing and kind of took you along?
I would say at first, she wasn't a senior at the time. I might be wrong. And then she went into her 5th year. I'm not sure. But Megan Moss was definitely one of the girls that took me under her wing, and she would help me out with things. Also, Carly Rucker. I think those were the 2 people that would always help me and like walk me through different things, or like teach me what I needed to know, and stuff like that.
What is the legacy you want to be known for during your last year?
Good question. I just want, I think, people to remember how genuine I was. I think throughout the years, as I've gone through different transitions, I've always tried to be the best version of myself, or be myself around everyone that I come in contact with. And also to just be known for somebody that cares about other people. because I do value my friendships and my relationships so much. And I just want people to remember me as just a genuine, good, genuine, and caring teammate.
Randy, it's time for the Panther Collective Questions of the Week, where we ask questions directly from the fans. This particular week, we're going to be talking with Karin Rowe as well as Cailyn, because we talk about hoops and heels. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Karin, real quick for our listeners, could you explain to us what House of Hope does for the community?
Sure. House of Hope is transitional housing and individualized support for single moms that have children in the care, and also for women that have aged out of foster care. We work with them on a variety of things, but basically provide whatever support they need on their trek towards self-sufficiency.
Now, Cailyn, your team annually holds the Hoops and Heels event every year. Tell us about that event and what goes on there.
I would say it's a very empowering, especially woman empowering event that we've been holding for a few years now. And it's a way for us to definitely give back to the community. We'll bring a lot of winter clothing and items to share so that we can give back and raise as many items as we can, because a big part of our program, with how much support we have from everybody in our community, we always are looking to give back. And House of Hope, well, we've been connected with them for a long time, and that's a really special event that we've been able to gradually make bigger and bigger each year. So
that cat.
That's Muffin again.
There's a Muffin. So Karin, how have you seen this event make a big difference in the Cedar Valley?
Yeah, it's actually, as she mentioned, it's grown each year. There was almost 1,000 items this year of warm winter clothing for children and women. And that is huge, just to have those items at the moment somebody's in need. But beyond that, it's also the building of community and support. So it is the communication, letting everybody know what's happening in our community and making sure that people are aware, and then they know where they can step in, and fill the gap for others. So we've seen it, from the very beginning, just as an empowering and just community building event. But as it's grown, it's just, it started in one little room. Now it's taking over the whole entire gym at McLeod Center. And there's just so many people, but beyond that event, we're seeing it seep out of it. And a lot of the people that are attending the event are getting involved in House of Hope in other ways as well. And that's been really neat too, is just the connections that have been made.
So Cailyn, what has your role been and the team's role been at this event? And why is it so good for the team to be part of things like this?
it's good because, like I said, we are very connected with our community, and we're always looking to give back. At this event, we're greeting people, we're making sure we're building those connections, and then we're also serving them food and playing games, making sure that everyone has what they need there. We feed them. We serve wine, and that's something I think the ladies love there. And we also, so a big part of it is just building that connection with them. And it allows them to get to know us as well. We'll play games and trivia and things like that. So.
Okay.
And Cailyn, let's not undervalue the brownie pie as well.
Yes.
That's a pretty
pie.
big deal.
It is.
And Karin, being a nonprofit, how do you look at the team and the players differently than maybe an average fan does?
Well, I'm going to speak from the nonprofit, but also just from a community member. We're really blessed to have you and I here in this community. I mean, it's not just the events that are happening, it's the fact that the players are involved in so many different aspects. As a nonprofit, it's really exciting, not just to have the players, but also it brings more spotlight to the need, which is great. But as a mom, I love the role models that we're seeing every day from the players that are coming out, and they're spending time with the kids and they're getting involved in different community areas. And we just see them all the time around, just showing up in a positive light. And I would say, as a nonprofit, but also as a community member, we're just really blessed to have you and I, and specifically the athletes, and how they're just getting involved around in our community.
Yeah, I think I would ditto that, Chuck. I mean, for the House of Hope, obviously, but on the other hand, when we see you guys at the mall or see you at Target or Walmart, whatever, it's cool because you're always reaching out to the young kids in the community, because you never know, they might be future Panthers, and it's an easier, it just makes a connection for them, and to give back is really huge, and we really appreciate what the especially the women's program and the men's program, they reach out to the community and try to help out in any way they can. So we appreciate that as well.
So before we let both of you go, is there anything you want to, for both of you, want to leave with Panther fans today?
Well, first, go Panthers. And the women's team, I hear, we've got some bright things this season, right? Some high hopes here. So good luck on that. And yeah, go Panthers.
Yeah, I'll follow that up with go Panthers as well. We're looking forward to a really exciting season. It's so early and it's just getting started.
Well, when you go to Vegas, and I know you said you were working on your offensive game, what I want you to do is that if you score 20 points during any of the games, okay, so you have to shoot like Randy a little bit and just kind of, by volume. And if you score 20 points in the game, I want you to just like point to the air, and then we know that you dedicated that big game to Randy and I.
Okay, I can do that.
Could you do that? We'll watch for that. We're going to expect that. So when you drop your 20 points at one of those games. So, well, good luck in Vegas.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great trip. Have a great Thanksgiving, and enjoy your basketball family out there. That'd be very cool. The Financial Architect's quote of the week: the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. So
do you feel as if you do a good job with that second part? Are you good at the purpose of life?
I think my gift has to do with my family. In my opinion, my gift has to do with my family. So that's kind of my gift, and kind of my purpose is to kind of like give it away, like give it back, or give it, share it with them. Like being the best dad I can be, being the best grandpa I can be, being the best husband I can be, all that stuff. And so then I try to like just be a role model, or kind of give it away, I guess, right? That's my thoughts on that one.
I love it.
Kind
Good
of deep,
stuff.
Chuck.
It is. You should write a book on that. And once you complete it, send me a copy, because I feel like I could do a better job in each of those areas. So
I'm not saying I do a good job at those areas. I'm just saying. And the book, by the way, would be very short. It wouldn't be a very long book, so you'd be good.
Yeah. Like half a page.
Yeah, a couple, maybe 2 pages long. Maybe.
Well, great quote as always. Good for you, good for me, good for everybody. It's time to say goodbye, though, from Chuck and Randy. See you next week. Enter the closing music.